Now, folks, if you'll just gather around a little closer now. Come right in a little closer. That's it. That's fine, folks.
Chantelle Cameron, 18-1, 18-sided distance, 32 years of age. Lost for the very first time as a pro late last year when Katie Taylor avenged her earlier loss that year to Cameron. That was for Taylor's undisputed titles at 135. Both fights went to 10-2's limit. Now, Chantelle still has straps at 140, but she's pursuing the rubber match with Katie Taylor. It will be at 135. The fight hasn't been finalized yet. The two fights she had with Katie Taylor last year, Jamie Moore was training her. Now they've parted ways. Jamie said he'll always love Chantelle. They didn't fall out. They've just agreed to part ways. Sounds amicable, but Chantelle is a very temperamental young woman. After the first fight with Taylor, she wanted a rematch to be in the UK when nobody knows her in the UK like that. And Katie is a huge draw in Ireland. Yeah, she won the fight, but she still didn't have the leverage for the fight to be in the UK. After the second fight, she was complaining about the referee, complained that Eddie Hearn was jumping up and down after Katie Taylor won, which he wasn't. And Eddie reacted, "Yo, I've got you two massive paydays, career-defining fights." MATCHROOM also organized a tournament for her to go undisputed. It didn't quite work because Kaylee Reese had to bail out on the tournament. But yeah, there was a tournament designed for Cameron to collect all the straps, I believe at 140. Then there was the incident with Shane McGuigan, who she parted ways with as her coach. And Eddie Scottney had an opportunity to fight on the first Cameron Taylor card. She was denied the opportunity when Cameron said she can't or she won't go through the press conferences and weigh-ins if Shane McGuigan is there. Eddie Hearn had to rearrange Eddie Scottney's world title opportunity on a totally different card. But something tells me that, I don't know, I don't have the details, that Cameron is possibly letting Jamie have it in the ear because she lost for the first time in November. Or she's just becoming increasingly difficult to work with. Perhaps not great timing for the pair to part ways with the rubber match with Katie Taylor coming up. Face-off between Anthony Joshua and Ngannou. Couple of interesting points. Anthony Joshua said, Ngannou, paraphrasing, proved himself against Tyson Fury. He's a boxer now. He has to win to advance by getting past Ngannou. If you win, you go to the next level. If you lose, you got to hit the reset, paraphrasing. Ade replied to Joshua, well, Ngannou lost to Tyson Fury, but he's here now, fighting you. So perhaps a loss isn't always that detrimental. AJ replied, yeah, but if he had won, what would have happened next? Ade said, possibly a rematch with Fury. And AJ said, yeah, or he gets a shot at Alexander Usyk. Ngannou replied to that and said, I disagree, saying it depends on what kind of loss. If you're losing, the people still want to see you again, you're still winning. He wants to be in exciting fights, that's more important. So they got slightly different perspectives. And I believe Ngannou has losses in the UFC, and the losses, from what I've read and heard, are not viewed the same in the UFC. You can redeem yourself in the UFC. As long as you're fan-friendly, you're all good. Where with AJ, like when he lost to Ruiz, it was like World War III, literally. The world came to a standstill for Anthony Joshua. The two Usyk losses, same thing. So while Ngannou doesn't have the same boxing experience that Anthony Joshua does, or technique, his approach to the fight could have him in good stead where he's not panicked about having to get a victory, because that's not what they do in UFC. Also, this is only his second pro fight. No one expects him to have this high ceiling. He's got nothing to lose. The way AJ spoke about winning and losing, have to win, you lose, then you reset. it was very matter of fact, like he knows what's coming if he loses. And Ngannou spoke like, if he loses, depends how he loses, or do the fans want to see him? So that was interesting. Interesting from the perspective that perhaps his attributes are not just a powerful punch and a physical presence. He's rationalizing it's senseless to put pressure on yourself, negative pressure on yourself. No. And he doesn't want no part of that.
And that's how the sport is, because like when two people go to fight, obviously one person gonna come out as a winner, and one person will win and one will lose. But they need a loser to make a winner, so you can. It takes two to tango.
Yeah,
right?
When the best fight the best, there is no defeat. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So in my point of view, it's just having a good fight. Fight good. You know, I worry about how I'm gonna fight and all those stuff. And unlike him, I'm not here like focusing on like the championship, the title. I want some good fight. You know, test myself, take a challenge, and see what I can potentially do. I'm not. I'm aware of the situation. I'm not that young anymore. I still have a couple years. I didn't have those opportunities earlier in my career, so now I'm trying to do what I can possibly do with the amount of time that I have. You know, have the best fight, enjoy all those stuff. Now,
everything he's saying is designed to tell AJ, I'm not under no pressure, but are you? But he's saying it in a very polite manner. And AJ is focused on him, what he's saying. In Ngannou's more common discipline, MMA, was he saying what he's saying there? Oh, I'm relaxed about losing. It's about good fights. Probably not. Probably not. Even though, as I said before, the UFC have a more relaxed attitude to losing fights than boxing.
In that fight against Tyson Fury, obviously you put Tyson Fury down, the world went crazy. I saw an interview you did recently where you said if you were to put AJ down with the same shot, you don't think AJ gets up.
Yeah, I have a doubt about that. Tyson showed that he's very resilient. I saw him come back from a knockdown that you wouldn't believe that somebody would come down. So I think he's probably one of the most resistant person out there, and that's not a disrespect to AJ. I don't believe that AJ would take what Tyson.
You don't think AJ is resilient? You don't think AJ has a chin?
As much as Tyson.
Who hasn't knocked Tyson down? So many people have knocked Tyson down.
And, you know, there is psychological warfare, passive psychological warfare between the two. You know, Ngannou seemed to relish in telling AJ that he's not the man Tyson Fury is. And Ade stirred it up. Oh, you don't think AJ's resilient? You don't think AJ's got a chin? He stirred it up a little. And AJ replied, who hasn't knocked down Tyson Fury? Like, it's no big deal. Later on in the face-off, AJ said, when have you ever seen me knocked out, like, sprawled out on the canvas? It goes on, it goes on. I haven't seen much people react to the face-off. According to the Boxing Voice, MATCHROOM have signed another PBC fighter on the back of Subriel Matthias, the IBF 140-pound champion. They also signed Richardson Hitchens, who was with the PBC. I'm wondering who it is, a heavyweight. Let's not write off Wilder. Eddie and Wilder were cordial on the plane going to Saudi Arabia. Who knows? Andy Ruiz, Luis Ortiz is fighting on Top Rank against Efe Ajagba. Can't see that. They got no cruisers. Light heavy, Marcus Brown. They've got a few 168-pounders, you know, like Benavidez, doubt it. Caleb Plant, never know. David Morrell. Andre Durrell, is he still fighting? 160, Carlos Adames. Jamal Charlo, 154, Jamel. There is Landy Lara. Unlikely. They got a few other fighters at 154. What about Danny Garcia? He's looking for that Conor BENN fight. He actually wants it. He asked for that fight. He said there's no bigger name than himself, and he's willing to travel to the UK at 154. I'm not going through the whole 17 weight classes. I don't see it being Tank, Frank Martin. Could be Frank Martin. You never know. You never know. Hopefully it ain't Gary Russell. The last thing we need is him popping up once every 2 years, throwing his hands. Stephen Fulton. Another name this came up is the 32-year-old IBF super flyweight champion, Fernando Martinez. 16-0, 9 inside the distance. And then, we could play around with potential fights with him, Bam Rodriguez, Estrada, or maybe Sonny might come up to Superfly and challenge him. So that'd be a good signing. Last but not least, Canelo. If they're struggling to secure that guarantee over there at the PBC, could head over to MATCHROOM. And as for Conor Benn, I like the Danny Garcia fight, but Conor weighed less for Peter Dobson than he did Orozco. So he's trying to come back down to 147. That looks like what he's doing. And I don't think Danny wants to squeeze back down to 147 at this stage of his career. Conor seemed keen on the Barrios fight, which is a good fight for him. That would be at 147. Is that who Eddie's trying to sign? He is PBC affiliated, I believe. Either fights are good for Conor. He hasn't been active in the last couple of years. I don't want to hear Danny's past it or Barrios isn't good enough. Barrios beat you guys in his last fight, and he's not a bad fighter. He was giving Gervonta Davis some good work before he got stopped late on. These are good fights for Conor. 21-0, 16 inside the distance, 26 years of age, Edgar Berlanga. American/Puerto Rican matchroom prospect/contender. For the best part of 10 months he's been inactive since he defeated Jason Quigley. What would have kept him out of the ring for 10 months? I didn't hear he was injured. What is up with these big delays between fights for these contenders and prospects these days? He takes on the 35-year-old Northern Ireland boxer, PADRAIG McCrory. 18-0, 9 inside the distance. This goes down in Orlando, Florida. It's an under-the-radar potential barn burner. McCrory can fight. Definitely can fight. He's aggressive. Certainly not a powder puncher. He's better when he steps in with his jab. A lot better. But, he likes to mix it up. He likes to throw hands. Berlanga is a favorite to take this. And if he is going to go on and challenge the likes of Canelo, Benavidez, Munguia, he needs to be out boxing and out punching McCrory. I'm picking Berlanga. Could be a controversial one on points. Andy Cruz is also on the card, so I'm looking forward to that this Saturday. Felix Cash was going along nicely after he stopped Denzel Bentley in 3 for the British title. Then he fought Magmadov, an import. Felix was knocked down a few times, and he got a controversial decision, let's say a hometown decision, and that seemed to derail him. Next time out against Nieves, another import. The fight looked close to me, but they gave Felix a decision. And he hasn't been in the ring for, 13, 14 months. So he's attempted to get off the milk carton and get back in the ring. He's been nominated to fight for the 160-pound European title, which Tyler Denny holds. Denny, on the other hand, is 18-3. Only one stoppage, but he's in a rich vein of form. He's won his last 5 or 6, and he was busy all last year. 3 fights, winning the European title against Signani. And he's been winning fights that have been either 50-50 or he's been a slight underdog, and he's been winning these fights. He's in a rich vein of form. And that kind of evens the playing field in a fight that a couple of years ago you would have said, yeah, Felix walks this, but it's different times now. Felix has had documented issues with his mental health, inactive, left Tony Sims, he's now with Adam Booth. There's something about Adam Booth, there's a few fights, I think Daniel Dubois and Eubank seem to leave as quick as they get there. I don't know what's up with that. But he's not being trained by Tony Sims. I actually thought that Felix left MATCHROOM, but he's still promoted by MATCHROOM, and Tyler Denny is promoted by Sky. The firepower is in Felix's favour. He's 16-0, 10 inside the distance. Denny, on the other hand, only one stoppage. Stumbling block on this fight, Felix is a matchroom fighter, and Tyler, the European champion, is a boxer fighter. So we got to ask the same question that we've been asking last year. Do boxer pull out of the fight, relinquish the belt, pull out of the purse bid, because that's what they've been doing. And, you know, I've repeated the stories time after time after time. Apparently, they're going to make an offer. Will Eddie Hearn respond to the offer? Will it go to purse bids? We'll see. Be a good fight. Interesting fight. Does Felix still have it? And does Tyler Denny's Indian summer continue? This would be far the biggest scalp he's took out of all the upsets he's sprung in the last couple of years. If he's able to do it, I'd still pick Felix Cash to win that fight, but it's not the same fight to predict it was a couple of years ago. That's for certain.